Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's Lainey. I'm a lover of beauty and makeup. If that's something that you're interested in as well, make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I have a new video coming out. Today I wanted to talk about my top 15 travel palettes that if I was to go somewhere, whether for a few days or maybe a week, these are the palettes that I would consider bringing, and show you the size of my makeup bags. That way you can kind of see a comparison, because these bags can fit everything plus your palettes and they're not like too big. So I want to start off by showing the first bag. So this is the Garfield bag. I'm not saying you have to have something exactly like this. And then I do have it full of some stuff. Pretty much everything I would need to do a face of makeup and then some. And you can see there's still room for palettes. And the palettes I've chosen, I have made sure you can fit at least 2 or 3 of them at a time. And then the other bag is a little bit bigger. This one does not have anything in it, but it does have just as much space, if not a little bit more. So this could fit 3 to 4 palettes on top of everything else that I needed for the trip. So I have tried to narrow it down between 2 or 3 palettes from each brand that I have, or my favorite brands. There are some that I wouldn't take with me because some palettes are way too big. And if I'm gonna be there a while, I want a wider variety without taking up so much space. So my first palette is from Fantasy Cosmetica. It is the Monk palette. It has a very orange color story. I really love oranges. I think they look so pretty on every skin tone. I haven't seen any skin tones where it doesn't look good. So that is the Monk palette. Next from Fantasy Cosmetica would be the Bard palette. I also really love this color story. It does have a couple of oranges, but you can also change it with these 2 shades, and the shimmers can really change up the look. And I also tried to make sure that I chose palettes that were still available. I know sometimes when people are talking about their favorite palettes, what they would take, palettes that aren't available anymore are mentioned, and then you're kind of having to start over, because when you watch videos, you're like, I like that palette, let me go check it out, and then it's not available. So the next one is from Singe Beauty. It is Galactic Visitor. And this is the color story. So this has a wide variety of things that it can do. And it does not take up too much space. Just to show you size comparison of the bag and then the palette. I could still fit 2 or 3 more palettes in here. Probably more, but I don't travel that often. And if I do, it's definitely not more than a week. From Odin's Eye, a lot of their palettes are relatively small and can easily fit in there. However, a lot of what they have is no longer available, like their collabs. I definitely do love their collabs, but I tried to, again, pick things that are still available. I believe this is still available. This is the Soulmane 2 Moon Wish. I believe this one is still available. And then we have the new palette, Love Language, from Morgan Turner. And this is that color story. Again, it can have a wide variety of range, from a neutral look, pink, purple. You can even change it to a little bit of gold or blue. Next is Unearthly Cosmetics. I believe this one is still available. It is their Valentine's Day Thinking of You palette. Again, it's a neutral palette that you can switch up a little bit. It's got a red, it's kind of got this tangerine, muted tangerine color, and then the neutrals, the shimmers can really change how the look turns out. And one of my favorite 9-pan palettes from Unearthly is the Lore palette. There are so many options to go with this. It's ridiculous. The shimmers are opaque, so you don't have to have a base coat under it. So that really gives you the option to use the mattes when creating your look. And then I have the Unearthly Sorcerer's Smoke. I don't know about other people, but when I travel, I like to have a lot more neutral options because I don't know what I'm going to be doing. You can see my cat. Hi, Oliver. So I like more neutral looks, greens, browns, oranges. Sometimes I do like pops of color, just depending on what we're planning for the day. So that is the Sorcerer's Smoke palette. And then from Glamlight, hi. From Glamlight, I have the Trick or Treat palette. I believe this one is still available. Again, it is orange. It has light orange all the way to a black. And then it is equal in shimmers and mattes. And then we have the Willy Wonka palette. I know this one looks kind of big, but it still fits in here just fine. This is probably as big as you can go with fitting a palette in there. But it does have a wide range of neutral to purples. So if you love neutrals and purples, this would be a good palette. This is the Really Good Formula from Glamlight. Nomad Cosmetics. If you want to take color, I recommend the Fiji 5 Lakes. I believe, again, this one is still available. I know Nomad has a lot of palettes. They have some of the bigger sizes and then they have some smaller ones. So here is that color story. So that's yellows, blues, neutrals, and reds. I know a lot of people don't really use reds, but depending on where you're going, you may be looking for some color. And then we have the Nomad Chicago Speakeasy. This is very neutral to me. The purples are muted, so I feel like that's pretty neutral. It does have a couple pops of color, and then neutrals with different undertones. And then lastly, I have Cosmic Beauty. So the first one is the colorful palette. It's the Serenity palette. I recently did a video, so if you want to see swatches of this one, I recommend the video. But here is the look. You can go from a pastel look to dark, and it has a wide variety, so neutral, colorful, whatever you're feeling. And then the neutral heavy palette is the Neutrals. So, as the name suggests, it is just a bunch of neutrals. There is a pop of color or two in here, so you can definitely make the look interesting while still keeping it, you know, if it's like a business trip, you can definitely still keep it casual. So those are my top 15 palettes that I would consider taking with me if I were to go on some kind of vacation or work trip. And I would love to see what your suggestions are. What are some palettes that you love taking on trips? I didn't have anything less than a 9-pan because I don't like anything less than 9 pans. I feel like they're too small and too limiting. So that's why they're not included. I just don't have any. But again, I would love to see what you guys bring when you go on trips. And I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any future uploads.